Hey there YouTube, it's Aaron here with another video. We're picking up where we left off last year with the Tippmann A5. I think we had just finished putting on the Palmer's Pursuit regulator stabilizer and getting it tuned and actually firing. So over the course of the last few months I've been actually putting paint through this reg, and I gotta say it's pretty consistent over the chronograph, and I was actually really impressed with it. Being a semi-auto and all. Hey, times have changed. And do I have a surprise for you? It is the electronic Hall effect E-grip for this gun. So we're gonna do a little video on how to install it, and we're also gonna do a creative change to this. This ASA here, I did find out that this will not work with the current setup with my reg, and that being the hose. The size of the hose on the regulator is a 1/8. This hole here is for use with Tippmann's compression fitting at the end of their line. The stock line that comes with the gun goes in there, and it is just slightly bigger than a 1/8. So I have taken a look around and found a couple different ways to fix that and to get around it. So what we're gonna do right off the bat here today, before we even put this on the gun, we're gonna take this ASA off and we're gonna replace it with our brand new trusty CP on-off ASA. Okay, so these CP on-off ASAs are for 08 minis, so these will fit. They also have the same gap as the Tippmann's. Thankfully, I don't know if you guys could see that, but there you go. So almost the same gap, pretty well the same gap. So we're gonna switch this out for an on-off. Hey, and honestly, I don't really like these style of ASAs anyways, just because there's no on-off. All you're doing is just twisting off your tank and potentially even busting a seal as you're screwing it in. And I've done that many times, and I've gone through so many of them, and it's pretty annoying. So honestly, and since I've been playing speedball, I love the fact that these guns have on-off ASAs, because you don't even have to take the tank off the gun, and your gun would be degassed. So in order to do this, it's pretty obvious. We just take the 2 screws off the bottom here. I'm actually pretty excited when I saw the ASA came in today. Just, you know, gave me something to do. Alright, so that's the one. Okay, so the CP on-off does come with its own sets of screws. You can choose to use them. The only problem is they're just a touch shorter than these ones. Well, I'll show you when I get this one out. So, and you'll find that one is a long and the other is a short. I think I got the long in my hand, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, I do. Okay, so it's just smaller by a couple mils, okay? Same thickness and everything. Now bringing it up to one of the ones that came with the ASA, they're roughly the same size, but I'm just lining it up with the threads. All right, so you notice the Tippmann's ones are a little bit longer, but you could use these for now until you just go to like I don't know, Home Hardware, Home Depot or something like that in their hardware section and grab a similar screw like this, but just a touch longer. It'll work just fine, but as long as you take these screws and use some trusty Loctite, you could use Teflon tape, it's up to you. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get the screws in, and we're just going to put a drop of thread lock on each. And that should do. right. Really thick and creamy there. What I do is I just let it run along the threads, okay? But don't really let it drip off. We'll line her up with the holes there. There we go. And then we'll use our Allen keys to turn that in. There we go. Like I said, they will fit, but they are, like I said, they're just a touch shorter. But for demo purposes, we're just gonna do this just for the sake of doing this. But like I said, you may have to go out and get some bigger screws. And there we have it. So we have just successfully installed the CP on-off ASA to our Hall Effect eGrip. All right. So let's just set this aside for now, and then we'll remove our semi-automatic mechanical grip frame, and then we'll. My camera just shut off there, but anyways, yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna set the eGrip aside, and we're gonna just pick up where we left off. There is now a step involved in this. Once you decide to put a Hall Effect eGrip on your gun, you are going to have to install the latch in the spring on the inside of the clamshell. So we are going to have to take the clamshell apart for that. The only thing about these, as a matter of fact, let's take the barrel off. I don't need that anyways right now. Okay, so this ambidextrous style, what it does is it eliminates the need for a latch and a spring. So I guess that was part of their changes in the 2011 model, were to remove certain parts, and I guess they felt that needed to be removed. Especially if you're just shooting semi-auto, you shouldn't be having your lines blow out anyways with a ball latch. But with a full automatic grip frame, then you're looking at maybe doing a little bit more pressure going through there and potentially blowing it off. So you are going to need it, and I know damn well my reg is going to need it. So so what we should do right now is just start popping out all of your pins, okay, removing the internals of your gun. There we go. So there's your spring. Okay, that's a little plastic piece that goes inside. And, oh yeah, so one more pin for the reg there. I find sometimes if it's hard to get in there, to use another one. There we go. So just pop that out for me. We'll take the reg off and we'll set that aside as well. So you should just be stripped down to this part here. So we're going to need our Allen keys once again. Okay. And we're just going to start unscrewing all of these screws to install this little annoying ball latch and spring. And I'm pretty sure that's the only differences beside the look of the gun and the front tang and the inner cyclone seal on the inside of the right clamshell and the dual ports. I think that's really the only changes they've made. Performance-wise, they also put the same cyclone on that, or gave it the same paddles as the Phenom, which is actually a pretty, worked great for the Phenom just because it was a low pressure gun. So we don't got anything to worry about now. We just got the squishy paddles. So, all right, guys. So here's a little piece of advice. If you're gonna go out and do this, take your gun apart, go out and actually get a pair of Allen keys that aren't in a fucking contraption like this, because it seems to be a little getting annoying right now. Alright, remove that one. Alright, this one. One more. Man, I tell you, this is one part I don't miss. And honestly, I think this is the first time I've actually opened up this gun like this. I've never actually went into a field, like a full out strip of this gun. And I haven't done that in a long time, and I never really intended on doing that. So unless I really had a big problem in there, which required replacements of seals or a lot of busted paint, that's about it. So I got all the screws out, just making sure. Yes, okay, good. So we can start splitting the clamshell in half. There we go. See what I mean about the front tang? It's a plastic piece that's still in there. I would tip it sideways and show you, but every piece will just be dumped out on the table. So actually, you know what? So that's about it. So we get our latch and our spring, Tombstone latch and spring. Set that. Okay. Okay, guys. Obviously, my camera keeps shutting off because I am getting low on battery, so I'm gonna have to wrap this up really quickly. So I did get the bowl, the Tombstone latch and the spring installed. So that's where it goes, right here. And that's all we really have to do when you have a newer 2011 style A5 and you're trying to install the electronic e-grip frame to it. That's the only thing, is you have to install the latch. So other than that, let's carry on. Let's get this other clamshell closed up. If you really want, we could always hit this up with a little bit of some Tippmann oil, which I do have here. I find that, you know, oiling the plates on the inside sometimes is beneficial for the moving parts. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that and just put that on the inside here. You only have to apply oil to the areas that are moving, so typically from about here to about here, about it. So we'll see if we can get this in one shot here. So I got everything lined up perfectly. Excellent. See, we're stuck on something there. Oh, the spring popped out, that's why. Okay. Yeah, this part's tricky. See, this is why I don't like really opening these clamshells up too much. They are just a little bit of a pain in the ass sometimes to close. Especially when you don't you know, intend on, you know, doing it like this. But unfortunately, this is the only pain in the ass part of installing this latch. And it's unfortunate that it has to be done. Like, I don't understand why it just couldn't be there from factory. Like, no matter what the grip frame looks like. But, you know, it's kind of an interesting, but yet a very strange upgrade. But however, it is what it is. All right, just reline everything up. Let's try it again. Hopefully a third time's a charm. It looks like we got it that time. Thank fucking God we got it this time. Okay, so let's button up the hatch and let's get everything back together. So we take in our little sight piece there. Just kind of screw that in. You can stick in your front sight if you're into that. There we go. All right, so first screw is going to go in for the cyclone. So let's do that. Okay, grab our other screws. We'll just drop them in real quick. I know I ain't got much time, but but I mean, sometimes it's the tedious things that are the most time consuming on these guns, and really seems to be that way. But however, you know, this will be something for us later on to take care of. And we could also put in the E-grip. I'll show you how that. We'll also put the air tank on, and providing that my camera here looks like it's got a little bit of juice left, so it might just hold up. I'm going as fast as I can to you know, speed this up. But like I said, now we got the tedious shit out of the way, and now it's all the simple stuff here on out. So simple Allen keys would be simple and easy and effective. But these things, I don't really like these things. Alright, so there we go. We are all set back up again. So we'll put our interns back in. Guide spring and or your spring and your guide pin. We'll put in one push pin for that one. Just hold that in. Our little. Okay, so now we got our barrel adapter in there, so we could also start putting back our reg. All right. So this time, when we put our reg in, we have to pull a latch back. All right. There we go. Okay. And we put a push pin in there as well. So I think really all it is just when it comes to high pressures, especially when it comes to being full automatic, I guess Tippmann recommends this whatever, I don't even know what it's called anymore. Let's move the fuck on. Anyways, so last but not least, your E-grip frame. Now that we just got our new ASA on there, we can throw on a little bit of T-tape. Okay, so pull off all the other shit that we had from the other ASA off, and then we'll put on some clean shit, and then we'll get this going. All right. ASA. Alright, grab the T-tape. So we'll cut just a small little piece for that. It's up to you, T-tape or thread lock. I find that both work just fine. T-tape just happens to be a little bit more of a thread filler, so it tends to seal just a touch better and also lasts a little bit longer. Thread lock, that just kind of makes it a bitch for it to come out, and as well as making a great seal at the same time, so especially when it hardens. So let's throw a little bit of T-tape on that. Okay. And then the way I do this, okay, we could put this on and do this, or we could just do it right now. And I'd rather just do it now and get it over with. So we'll just screw that on. Okay, and once I at least get it threaded, then we'll put the E-grip on, and then we'll tighten from there. Holy crap. Alright. Not having a good video. You know, this is probably one of the worst ones I've done so far. Just a lot of bad luck today. All right, so now we can put our half-ass grip together. So be aware, this fucking stupid thing does fall out quite a bit, and your entire internals will just dump out onto the ground like that. So keep in mind not to do this in the field. So if you decide to field strip, don't. Okay. I know this video may also be entertaining for some people, but hey man, I get off on my own misfortune sometimes, but not this time. So I get that back in, and then we could put our grip ring onto the gun. There we go. So we can put our push pins back in. There we go. So we pretty well had installed our E-grip, our Tombstone latch and spring. Tombstone latch and spring, that's what it's called. And our on-off CP ASA. Okay, very simple. Well, not really, but it could have been a lot simpler if I wasn't filming. But at this point, what we're going to do is we're just going to tighten up this line, and that's really the only thing left here on this video is just doing this. So after I get this all nice and tightened up, we can or I can just throw a tank on it and we'll do a leak test and see if that works. I kind of, for fuck's sakes, get a really good adjustable too. Mine has a lot of play in it. I mean a lot of play. I think this one has a Fisher Price label on it, if I'm not mistaken. All right, so there we go. Looking good. All right. And there we go. So now we can just grab a tank and we'll test out our nice, new, neat little system. Okay. So I'm gonna just do everything here. spin this around, and then I'm going to show you as I turn it on. Hopefully you'll see the needle spike there a little bit. Okay, there we go. We're kind of in focus there. So let's air it up. Okay, so we're going to have to cock it first. And there we go. So we are rolling. So she airs up right up to about 800 as usual, or 850. Yes. Oh, that's the other thing I changed. So I think 800 is like the bare bones for this gun. 850, 900 seems to be where the optimal pressure is for this gun for rapid rate of fire, that I'm saying. Not specifically for semi-auto. You don't really need much pressure for semi-auto, but for faster rates of fire, like full automatic fire, you're definitely going to need a little bit more pressure out of your tank and into the gun. So with this regulator, we know how it's set to about 850, 900. It's going to be pretty consistent and pretty bang on. And it has been for the bulk of the last few months. I've been shooting a couple bags of paint through it here and there, and she shoots really good. Breaks the odd ball here and there, but like I said, shooting 2-star, you know, anything can happen. So right now, I'm not hearing any leaks or anything that would signify a leak. So there we go. And let's degas. See the ease of that. There we go. So there we go. So we got a couple good upgrades today. And I think I'm going to call this as a video right now as it stands, seeing that we've had, what, 2 stoppages. You got to see my internals of my grip frame dump out onto the floor, or into my lap rather, all because of a selector switch. And the joys of watching me do things one-handed. It's not really easy doing that stuff, but hey, I did notice there ain't very many videos out there on these on how to do stuff like this. So since I'm experiencing this, and I've done this a few times with a few different A5s over the past 15 years. So, and this is a project that I've always wanted to do for the longest time, is to convert an A5 into a speedball marker. And it can be done. So there are some future upgrades we're going to be looking into for this gun. One of them being probably the Fang trigger for the Hall Effects E-grip. We got the ASA, so maybe some longer screws for them, like I said. I wouldn't be doing any diving and sliding with these screws in there right now, just because they're a little short. But like I said, for the video purposes, that's the only reason why we're doing this, because I'm not going out there right now and I'm going to go jump and dive with this thing, because those screws will just pop right out and you'll probably destroy your E-grip. So best thing to do is go to the hardware store, get a couple screws that are the same thread, same size, but just a little bit longer, and that's it. As for that, in the next video, I'm also going to try to cover some programming. I'm pretty sure there's a few videos out there with programming, so I might not even bother. Everyone knows how the E-grip works. You take your little your Allen key, you stick it in there, you turn it on, right? And you also push the button to change your modes. Pretty basic stuff. Seeing that this board doesn't really have very many legal tournament modes that I know of, because right now I'm used to using Millennium. My speedball guns are always set to about 10.5, so that's what we shoot in tournaments, is 10.5. So I think we might start off with some simple ramping modes, semi-automatic mode, and I'm not going to do any full automatic modes. Might do a response, 1 shot with each pull and release of the trigger, so that'd be pretty cool on this And I think this gun is only capped up to 15 balls per second as it is with the stock electronics. So we could potentially be looking at a new board coming in soon. I'm not going to say anything, but otherwise, to conclude the video and wrap it up before my camera dies again, very simple upgrades, guys. It just makes the user's life a lot easier. If we install an ASA, hey man, ASA on off for a Tippmann A5, come on. That's probably one of the best upgrades for it. And to be honest, an upgrade that should already be on the gun before you get it. So the eGrip, everyone wants that because you want to do some full auto, you want to do some ramping. And pretty soon we're going to start getting into some videos with that. And yeah, we'll get the trigger, like I said, the Fang trigger. We'll really spice this gun up and bring it to that speedball level that I was talking about. So we're already halfway there. A little bit more work to do. But other than that, guys, that concludes today's video. And that is the installation of the HoloFX eGrip, the CP on-off 08 Mini ASA, and the Tombstone latch and spring. And now you guys know what kind of a pain in the ass it is to do that. So, cheers, guys.